inning. She has been on fire.
Yeah, and 3-0 in game 3s so far. Her first year in the SEC since transferring in from Central Arkansas. And she has quickly become the ace here at Bama. There's Amari Harper, the sophomore out of Corona, California. As expected, not too much has changed in the A&M lineup today after that big day yesterday.
It was not broken yesterday, so don't fix it, right? Just leave it alone.
Riley Valentine, the catcher, on equipment change. And she's ready to go. The transfer from A&M a year ago. One's off her glove. She's moved into the starting lineup the last couple of weeks due to an injury to Marley Giles, who, well, they're hoping she'll be back in time for the postseason, but that's a wait and see. Out with an injury to her arm. 2-0 to Harper. Boy, and what we've come to see throughout the season, Michelle, is this strike zone early in games so important for these pitchers to establish and these hitters to understand.
Absolutely, that, you know, it's always about establishing, you know, your dominance in the circle early on and understanding the three strike zones. Yours as a pitcher, the umpires, which is most important, and then obviously the hitters are who you're going up against.
I'm going to side with you, the pitchers, on this one, Smitty, and a lot of the coaches around the country are hoping that maybe the strike zone would be a little bit bigger most nights to give the pitchers a little boost.
Yeah, we've made a lot of changes to the game that have really helped the offense, and some of the pitchers, if the ball is, you know, nicking the strike zone, it needs to be called.
Well, and you want the hitters to be aggressive too.
Absolutely. So nobody comes to watch
get your
people
swings.
walk. Absolutely. They come to watch them swing that bat.
Beaver has worked the count back to full and gets Harper to swing and miss off the plate inside, one down.
Well, that's just experience and energy. After starting out 3-0, she gets a couple of foul balls and she comes back with this drop ball in the inner half. But now the way that Beaver throws with all that velocity, it's got a little run to that pitch. So it's got a little down, a little run underneath, and she's not afraid to throw inside. Big strikeout on a curveball.
First pitch swinging. Kramer Eshte to short. Kenley Cahalan has it. 2 down. There's a look at the lineup for the Aggies. Both Enright and Powell hit home runs down at the bottom of the lineup yesterday. And for Kennedy, her first of the season, just the second of her career. 8 of the 9 had a hit, scored a run. Everybody was in the pool yesterday. Here's Jasmine Hill, one of the candidates for all SEC honors.
SEC Player of the Week this week. We had a big series last weekend against Ole Miss. Check that, Kentucky.
Alabama coming off the sweep of
There you
Ole
go.
Miss.
All right. I knew they were in the equation somewhere.
We're getting down into the home stretch.
Ooh.
Here's the 1-1 to Jazz. Another swing and miss.
Beaver going upstairs now against Jazz. She's shown a lot of down in this series, game 1. But really her bread and butter, she's got that jumpy rise ball at the top of the zone up at 70 miles an hour.
Hill got a piece of that. She's got a good eye, 32 walks, including one Saturday. Yesterday, she was 2 for 4 with a couple of RBI and scored 4 times.
She was busy.
Got her. 2 strikeouts to open up the ball game for Kayla Beaver.
I'd pitch to righties, and oh, by the way, 2 of the 9 for the Bama Tide are lefties, the rest are righties.
Yeah, both lefties right here at the top with Kristen White and then Kenley Cahalan. They didn't get many hits off of Kennedy the other night, but they were timely. In fact, both hits coming in the same inning. Abby Dukeshire with a 2-run double, and that was the difference in game 1 of the series. So when these two got together the first time, good pitchers duel.
Both pitchers throw hard. They control the zone. They've got good vertical movement. And they do have the ability to throw horizontally on the corners. So when you've got all those combined, it's tough on the hitters to know where to look.
And she is big, 6'2", with those long levers coming at you from the left side. Here's the 1-2. Gets the swing and miss. Strikes out White, 1 down.
Kennedy likes to throw that curveball away, but this one is actually going to be away and have some down movement. And that's what Trisha Ford really worked on with Kennedy this year, is making sure that that ball isn't just moving on a horizontal plane, but also diving down vertically.
Cahalan pops it up right side, and drifting over into foul territory is Amari Harper, 2 down. Kendall Clark will step in, the 3 spot in the order. Clark and Dowling were the home run hitters yesterday for Bama. 2 home runs and 4 runs batted in right there in the middle of the order. They trailed 7-1, rallied to make it 7-5, and then the A&M bats just blew up.
10 runs in those last 2 innings. 3 in the 6th, 7 in the 7th.
Misses low, 2-1. Clark from Humboldt, Iowa, has reached now in 10 straight games.
A lot of energy on that one.
Both pitchers with a couple of K to start the day as Kennedy gets Clark. Right back to Beaver, the pitcher. 1 down.
Texas A&M has been aggressive at times throughout this series. A lot of first pitch swings. It was actually pretty handy for them yesterday. They had a lot of their big hits, first pitch swinging.
That was Julia Cottrell. This is Trinity Cannon. 3 for 3. Walked a couple times, drove in 4 in the win yesterday. She was happy to see that, had been struggling over the last few series. Out in front. There you see previous 8 games, 3 hits, and then Sunday 3 hits, doubled the ribs.
And that really was the difference between game 1 and game 2, is that off of Beaver, you know, they had a hard time identifying pitches. Even though they did have those 6 hits, they were scattered. There was no consecutiveness of passing the bat.
Two-one foul. Batting average has gone up every year for Trinity. Hit .310 a year ago. She's up over .325 to start the night. Skies the 2-2. Kendall Clark, 2 down.
Beaver's starting to work a little bit more up in the zone today versus, game one. Actually, Saturday, a lot of those curves and drop lower in the zone. And when you have a lot of different tools, it's amazing how you can really change your game plan.
Oh, yeah. Not just pregame, but in-game, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
You could come in thinking one way and then have to pivot.
Well, and a lot of these clubs, they know. They've got scouting reports on pitchers, almost like the books that MLB has. Hey, what's this pitcher throw? What are their tendencies? I mean, all the analytics nowadays, how much are they in the zone, first pitch, second pitch?
Beaver is getting ahead in the counts tonight. Look at the season, and then Saturday, the numbers.
They're a lot more low. Look at that drop ball, 18%. That drop and curve. And that's why she had to do that, because Texas A&M at times will be very stingy at the top half of the zone. They're going to lay off that rise ball. It's hard to chase them up. She was able to chase them down, actually, into the dirt.
There's a look at Tricia Ford, the second-year head coach at A&M. Ripped off the glove of Dowling at third, and Enright is aboard.
Enright has done a good job this year of really driving the ball hard. This is on the inner half and just barrels this up right at Dowling, and it's just going to go in and out of her glove. Call that a base hit.
First base runner of the night. Here's Rylan Wiggins. Senior out of Wiley, Texas, 0 for 7 so far in the series. All SEC performer a year ago for the Aggies. Launches that to center, and White's got a beat on it. A hit, a base runner stranded. Huge. There are 8 SEC schools right now in the top 16 RPI, fighting to host not only a regional, but a super regional. And so the head-to-head could become a critical piece of information for the selection committee. Coming into the night, Alabama is 8, Texas A&M is 10. You want to be top 8 to host a regional and a super on the road to the Women's College World Series. There's your top 10. So the SEC has 4 of the top 8. They have 4 more in the top 16. And then 2 right now on the bubble. Dowling is retired. 2 more on the host bubble. So Mississippi State is at 17. Florida is at 18. You need to be in the top 16. RPI is not the only indicator, by the way. There's a lot that goes into it, but that is a big one. So there are your teams right now on the regional host bubble. Auburn, that's going to be a big conversation. They are a 15 RPI, even though they're towards the bottom of the standings. They had a big weekend.
Yes.
Looking for a little momentum. Of course, they'll play Alabama at the end of the season. Florida right now in second place in the SEC. I would think the committee is looking at them a little bit higher right now than their RPI is.
Yeah, it is interesting when you look at where all these teams are standings and performance-wise versus RPI. And like you said, Beth, it really comes down to eye test versus always just analytics and numbers.
Of course, Selection Sunday, 4 weeks from yesterday, May 12th. We'll have 2 hours of coverage for you, revealing the bracket and breaking it down. Good reach and the catch at second base by Amari Harper. 2 down.
How about Harper and her timing? All looked like it was headed to the gap. You know, this is for a fielder, this is all about making sure you got your ups at the right time, and it looks like it's climbing, and she goes up and gets that, and the way that she reaches, turns her body so she can get full extension of that glove arm, and Kennedy loves it. Love when your middles have your back like that.
Emma Broadfoot swings through it. gets the start at first base. Senior was out yesterday after a collision at first. One and two. Broadfoot got a piece. Lefty tried to get her to chase.
Well, it's interesting, really, when you break down Lefty Kennedy, as you call her Lefty. I love that Coach calls her that. She's just tough right there on that inner half.
Kennedy Powell stays down on that bounce. 1-2-3 inning. Scoreless through two. And then the last 3 games of the year will be A&M in Gainesville to take on Florida, which may decide first or second place in the SEC. Aggies, of course, have never won at all. Their best finish is a 3rd place finish.
They could pick up a win here, win this series, win their last 2. Be sitting in a good spot. But Tennessee and some other folks might have something.
You know, Tennessee is looking good atop the standings. They're regular season and tournament champs last year. Florida and A&M have both overachieved if you listen to the preseason prognostications. They were both picked in the middle of the pack, and they are closer to the top. Of course, there was some more chaos over the weekend. 3 top 10 SEC teams lost their weekend series. It's crazy around the country.
I was going to say, it wasn't just the SEC, the Big 12, the Pac.
8 of the top 10 lost last week.
Yeah, at one point, Duke lost to midweek, even though they did sweep Clemson.
Stanford lost their last game yesterday to Oregon State. 1-2 to Ayanna Coleman. It's 8-9, and then the top here for the Aggies. Strikeout number 3 for Kayla Beaver. 1 down.
Kayla Beaver showing she's not just a rise ball pitcher, really has been effective in this series. Over the top spin, that's a drop ball. It's got a little curve to it, but it's got great movement as it enters and exits that zone on the outer half really quick.
Here's Kennedy Powell, who hit a home run yesterday. Tide had to use 4 pitchers, but they did not have to go to Kayla Beaver.
Powell with that home run. It was her first of the year. 3rd of her career, I think it was that. 2nd of her career.
Two for 4 on the day yesterday for the sophomore from Conroe, Texas.
And that's typically what you see from Powell, is the bunt, the short game, the speed. Not always the long ball, but she got all into one yesterday.
Lays off of that, 2-2.
She just does a good job in that 9-hole. Probably could walk a little bit more. 14 strikeouts on the year to just 8 walks. It's tough sometimes when you're slapping, moving through the zone.
Here's the swing, a 3-run shot for Kennedy yesterday.
When you can swing it like this, you don't need to slap or bunt. And she gets a pitch on the inner half that she just blasts out of the park. That was a no-doubter, and you could see her team was so excited because you just don't see the long ball come from Powell in that 9-hole very often.
hit a home run, Smitty, you get to wear the Howdy hat and ride Homer the horse when you get back to the dugout. I'm just gonna leave that there. Just gonna put that out there.
Say howdy to the horse.
You saw the hat. I mean, you saw the Howdy hat. The Homer is in the dugout. The softball traditions. Eighth pitch of this AB coming up right here.
And she's seen it all. Off speeds, rise balls, drop balls.
4 foul balls to extend the at-bat into the 9th pitch.
Beaver was efficient in game 1 that she threw, just 101 pitches.
A 10-pitch at-bat here for Powell.
This is where those quality ABs come in, when you can make a picture, work this hard to get you out, especially in the 9-hole. These are things you typically reap the benefit of this as the game goes on.
Our umpires today, Brian Crochet, Thomas Mayer, Cam Ellison. Powell, this one's put in play to Hevlin. And finally, Kayla Beaver wins that showdown, 2 out. She's retired 16 of the last 18 she has faced. 1 out away from making it 22 consecutive scoreless innings.
Well, I bet part of the reason that she's done that is she's been efficient. And now, granted, that was a long AB that Powell just put her through, but you know, she hasn't really hurt herself with a lot of free passes. And that's one of the keys. A couple of free passes in game 1, but first time through the lineup, no free passes, just the 1 hit for the Aggies.
Back to the top of the order, and Amari Harper. Harper, right back to Beaver, bobbles, fires to first, and still got her. Her PI wins. That puts him right in the thick of the discussion to host.
Well, it was interesting coming into this series. Coach Murphy said last year at this time we were in the same spot. We were 6-6, and in the end they ended up punching their ticket to the Women's College World Series. So, no panic yet.
This is a big one. You got to take care of your business at home. And that's why for A&M to steal one here and get the series would be huge for their resume. They have not been, just a game above 500 on the road this year. But what a turnaround in the last couple of seasons. They got better last year, even better this year, especially their offense. And of course, Tricia Ford, known for her work with pitchers, has shored up their staff in short measure. Abby Dukeshire, she had the big hit to win game 1. A 2-run double in a 2-0 win.
Texas A&M has done a good job in the SEC. They're 11-6, and you look at their series, they've done a really good job. The only series they really struggled with was LSU, where they got swept.
Dukeshire, high fly ball to center. Hills under it. One down.
You just have a feeling this is going to be one of those picture battles the whole night, that it's going to be the misses, it's going to be the mistakes. The only hit of the game by Allie Enright was a 1-2 mistake, small mistake by Beaver that was a single.
Alabama does not have a hit yet off of Emily Kennedy. 3 strikeouts on the night.
Both these pitchers have whips right around 1. They don't allow a lot of folks on base. Not used to pitching with a lot of traffic, and obviously that helps out their defense as well.
Another swing and miss, 1-2. Three Rivers, Michigan. High school player of the year out of the state. She's 1 for 5 so far in the series.
These Bama hitters have been patient at times. And with a pitcher like Emily Kennedy, you know, who really does attack the zone, you have to be careful. You can't watch too many strikes go by. If you see something that's good, you got to go get it. You have to know what you're hunting efficiently, because if you're looking at one part of the plate and she's not throwing there, you're just going to be wasting pitches. That's the pitch that Alabama really needs to be looking at and making adjustments on, and that's that curveball that comes into righties. Again, Kennedy just tough on righties. They hit just $167 against her.
Hevlin draws the walk. And that'll bring up the Texas A&M transfer, Riley Valentine. 0 for 4 in the series, has scored a run for the Tide. Originally out of Phoenix. First pitch swinging, 0-1. It's now official, by the way, if you're watching the WNBA draft on one of your other computers. Caitlin Clark, to no one's surprise, the overall #1 pick to Indiana. Shouldn't be too long before Camila Cardoso of the national champion South Carolina Gamecocks goes. Expected to be in the top 5. So is Rakia Jackson from Tennessee. Maybe even Angel Reese from LSU.
Yeah, big night for basketball, SEC women.
Back-to-back natties, LSU, South Carolina.
Speaking of which, the softball SEC. It's been a while since they've been playing for the Natty.
Yes, it is. Is this going to be a breakthrough? The depth is there. Do they have the stud teams to make a deep run in Oklahoma City? We're going to find that out. There certainly seems to be a lot of parity around the country. A lot of parity in the league.
Yeah, anyone can beat anyone.
Valentine skies that one out to right center, back, and it's bouncing off the base of the wall. Hevlin held between first and second, and so that's as far as she can get. A long single for Riley Valentine.
Well, and Valentine almost passed up Hevlin. And this ball looks at one point like maybe it's going to get out of the yard. This is a curveball that's elevated, and Valentine just runs her bat right into it, going the opposite way. You know nobody's going to really track this down. I'm surprised Hevlin is actually headed back to first base, and you cannot do that. You've got to be on something like that. She should have been easily at third, Valentine at second.
Yeah, it's not like you're going to tag from first there, so see if it proves to be costly here for the Tide. Back to the top of the order, Kristen White struck out on a drop ball in the first. Oh, and 2. Puts that one in play. They'll get the force at third, and that'll be it. Well, instead of Hevlin standing on third, she is out at third. 2 down.
Yeah, that's a definite base running miscue, and I am sure that Kayla Breaux over in the first base coach's box was telling her to go as soon as she started to come back.
Kenley Cahalan. Well, remember, they scored early Saturday night, and it stuck. You also missed the opportunity for Murphy to be able to put in a hitter instead of the slapper White in that situation.
Absolutely. With runners at second and third with less than 2 outs, Alabama's batting average is really good.
And you could have brought a sac fly RBI into that equation.
Yeah,
but not now.
Top 25 teams are 387 in that situation. And this is a very different situation because, as you mentioned, Beth, you give the infield the opportunity to get an out at any bag. And it takes the speed of Kristen White away from you.
Got our interview with Coach Ford coming up after the inning. Cahalan rips that one back up the middle, and a diving catch by Hill robs Alabama of at least one.
For the Tide, what kind of adjustments would you like your offense to make?
Yeah, I think we're actually on her pretty good. I mean, it's just going to take some time, but we've had some long at-bats where we're in a high pitch count, and all that is it's going to work for later on in the game as the game goes on. So all of that is kind of that process, right, of like maybe we didn't get a hit, but did you get 7 or 8 pitches out of her, and that's going to wear as we get going.
Thank you very much, Coach.
Thanks,
all right,
Coach.
take care.
I think I may have mentioned that earlier, Beth.
Well, you guys are pitchers and pitching gurus, and you're simpatico.
Oh my gosh, it was great on our conference call before the series. I could just tell Beth was like rolling her eyes like, whatever, they're talking pitching.
I enjoy that just as much as the next guy.
Just checking. Just checking.
Sometimes it does get a little deep in the weeds. But that's okay.
That's okay.
Scoreless to the 4th because of that glove work for A&M. Now they'll pick up the bats. Kramer Echte, it's 2, 3, and 4 in the lineup. Ellie Sparks just picked Cameron Brink from Stanford, number 2. In the W draft. Ground ball, knocked down by Dukeshire. The flip, they're not going to get her. Echte able to run it out.
Echte with a lot of speed, able to cause a little havoc here, and that's exactly what this A&M team wanted to do. This is a ball that needs to be gloved cleanly, but it goes off of Broadfoot's glove. And because of that, Hevlin's late getting to the bag. Echte going to beat it out and see how they field this. 4 errors already in the series for Alabama.
Scoreboard says error. Dowling to second to get the lead, over to first. They'll get 1.
I'm assuming if they put an error up, it's probably off Broadfoot.
Yeah.
So E3. But then a good job by Dowling to Hevlin to get the lead out.
Here comes Julia Cottrell. 1 for 4, drove in 3 runs in the win yesterday. First time up, she grounded back to Kayla. Is she lining up on the other side of the rubber now?
Yeah, that's what we were looking at earlier. So she's on the right side of the rubber. Kennedy left side as a left-handed pitcher. So both these pitchers are doing a really good job of working angles. So not just movement of pitches, but angle as the ball approaches the strike zone. A little different look.
2-0. Screwball got up in on her. 2-1.
So it's particularly effective when you throw to the outer half, but also the inside. You get a little more torque, and when that plant foot goes down and you're starting off to the arm side of the rubber, you can get a little bit more torque around your core, especially effective on a curve ball or a drop ball that you're trying to run. A crop, maybe a curve drop, we like to call it.
Little crop duster.
There you go.
Getting in on the hands again.
Second time through the lineup, A&M really making Beaver work. Fouling off a lot of pitches, deep into counts. Sixth at bat with 5+ pitches for Texas A&M. So the Beaver's going to go to the changeup. She's going to throw that low. It's probably not one of her best pitches, but she's going to show it. Try to establish some vertical separation as well as some velocity differential.
Draws the walk. Pushes Hill over into scoring position. First free pass from Kayla.
5 full counts for Beaver in the series, but she's got 4 strikeouts. That's just the first one that she's lost. So her kill rate on those full counts has been really good.
First threat of the night for A&M. Here's Trinity Cannon. 2 on and 1 out. Canada fly ball to right field back in the second. She did have a hit off of Beaver on Saturday night, and there's 3 for 4. Looks like the Aggies will get a pinch runner on for Cottrell over at first. Haley Golden. Cottrell can re-enter. Nope.
Nope.
Gonna run out at second base. Jazz Hill can re-enter. Three and 0.
Beaver having a hard time with the strike zone at this point.
Finds it there, 3 and 1.
Big opportunity here for Trinity Cannon. 3-1 count. Ducks on the pond.
Lost her too. Back-to-back walks. Also an error in the inning, and the bases are loaded.
You know, it's been the free passes in this series that have really hurt Alabama.
Allie Enright, who hit a home run yesterday, does have a grand slam on the season. Singled back in the second. High fly ball. Clark in foul territory will make the catch. The runner tags the throw to the plate, and it bounces away from Valentine, and another run will score as Cottrell sneaks in all the way from second base.
Enright is going to get this ball down in the right field line. Bases loaded, and I think the question here is going to be, it's very tough for Clark, knowing this is a foul ball. I'm probably letting this drop. I mean, that's deep enough that you know that more than likely she's going to be able to score from third. Now, granted, I do know Enright had the home run yesterday. She had a hit earlier, but still.
And now it squirts away from Valentine. Cannon all the way to third, so did they give an error? On the thrower, on Valentine not catching the ball off the bounce there. Wiggins, and that one will get out of play. So they're scoring at a sac fly and then an E9 on Clark for the second run.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if Alabama, if they go back and they talk with Clark. I still think that's a ball that you let drop, especially with a pitcher like Beaver, a power pitcher who can strike batters out. I don't know, I'm thinking give her the opportunity for a shallow fly out, a strikeout.
That strategy that doesn't show up in the box score.
Yeah.
Ends up in the box score, and a 2-0 lead for the Aggies.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, Beth, we saw that yesterday, a couple of defensive decisions that really hurt Alabama.
Wiggins trying to pick up one more after Cannon got over to third base following a wild pitch. Got under it. Jenna Johnson makes the catch. But a little strategy. Do you have a philosophy with your outfielders, you know, on a situation there where do you catch it all the time, or is it a situational thing?
Yeah, if you're running in and you have a good momentum behind you like she did, catch it and hopefully throw the girl out. The throw, you know, it was the bounce was high, and of course the catcher's worried about the runner coming in. It's a tough play to begin with. So if you're backing up and it's obviously foul ball, don't catch it. If you're coming in and you have momentum going forward, catch it and try to throw her out.
Great, thank you.
Coach, this is the third game in a row that you are facing Kennedy. What kind of adjustments do you want your offense to make?
Well, she just changed. So we have a new pitcher in.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yep. The righty that spins a lot. So we have to we're going to let the ball travel a little bit and hit it up the middle or opposite field because she's got really good spin.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for being here, you guys.
Coach.
Yep.
So with A&M making the pitching change, here's that play we were talking about in foul territory.
And so, in my opinion, I would not be catching that because she is parked underneath of it. She's not really running through it. And I agree with him. If you're running through the ball, you've got momentum, you're able to make that. But that's a long way to make that throw to hope to get someone out in a 0-0 game with your power, your ace pitcher in the circle.
So now the counter, are you a bit surprised that they pulled Kennedy here? They go to Brooke Vestal here in the bottom of the fourth. Kennedy can re-enter. It's the second time through for the 3-4-5 hitters.
Well, and what we were just talking about is the third day in a row that Kennedy had to throw against Alabama. So coach thinking second time through the lineup, let's let's get as completely different as possible. Kennedy with all that speed from the left side, and Vestal has a lot of spin. This is an off-speed curveball that looks like it makes you spin out of your shoes, and it's just got so much rotation. It's more spin speed than pitch speed, and you got to sit back on that and think about driving it the opposite way if you even want to come close to sniffing it.
First strikeout for Brooke to start things off. Here's Bailey Dowling. Struck out back in the second when Kennedy was still out there. Winner of this one wins the series, which could be huge for the NCAA Tournament Selection Committee as Dowling gets hit by the pitch. You want that head-to-head victory on your resume. Looks like they'll get a pinch runner out. Dowling can re-enter. Kinley Pate. Tying run will come to the plate here for Bama. Bullpen active. Maybe all hands on deck the rest of the way here, Michelle.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a rubber match game, and everybody's going to have a short hook from here on out. And this is hopefully just buying outs for Kennedy. Opportunity to come back in later if she's needed.
Yeah, she did re-enter, of course, after throwing over 100 pitches Saturday. She came in for the last 2 innings last night through 33 pitches.
Well, it's interesting, in that 7th inning, they had that large lead, that 11-run lead. Probably could have gotten away with not throwing her.
Johnson right back up the middle and out into center field. The base hit for Jenna. Tying run aboard for the Tide.
Well, this is exactly what Alabama needs to do. Opportunity to see a new pitcher, make some adjustments. And this is that curveball in the outer half. So much spin. You can just see the way that that's moving. But right now, that's what Alabama's doing. They're going to sit that pitch, work that on the outer half, let it travel deep, and then try to bop it opposite field or back up the middle.
Emma Broadfoot. This is the 10th relief appearance for Vestal, 13 innings. Opponents have scored 11 runs. Change up, high, 2-0.
Vestal has given up 3 home runs this year.
Goes back to it, 3-0. Ball 4, and the bases will be loaded for Abby Dukeshire.
Dukeshire had the big hit, a double in game 1.
Dowling hit by a pitch. Pate's on to run for her. Johnson the single, and now the walk to Broadfoot from the reliever, Brooke Vestal. And that hits Dukeshire, and a run will score. 3 free passes in the inning.
Keep the Tide off the board and just 1 run on it.
Looks like Kat Grill has gone on to pinch run out at second base. So Johnson at third and Dukeshire over at first. Still just the 1 out. And here's Callie Hevlin. Looking to tie it up or grab the lead. Pitching change for A&M. They pull their starter, Emily Kennedy, and the bullpen, Brooke Vestal, running into trouble.
Well, that was probably a predetermined decision coming into the game, going once through the lineup. I mean, she's given up just the 1 hit. She was very efficient.
important, too, for these base runners. You know, eyes in the A&M dugout are watching them, that you don't leave the base early. One-two pitch. 2-2.
Working that inner half, trying to get ground ball, left side, try to turn a 5-2-3 double play, just something hard on the ground that the Aggies can field. Go back inside again. And that's probably a ball. That's where Hevlin has to be really kind of choosy. You got to protect with 2 strikes, bases loaded. You don't want to be chased down into the dirt.
That was close.
That was close. Drop on the outer half after a couple of pitches inside. You know, and this is the pitch actually as a hitter you want to be looking for, because this is, you're going to let it travel deep and drive it hard the opposite way. You need to tattoo that pitch, and I'm sure Ackerman is wishing that was called strike 3.
Full count. Back up the middle and through. Johnson scores. Grill being waved home, and she'll slide in head first for the go-ahead run.
Alabama was 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position. That big hit by Hevlin in the 8-hole is going to help put some runs up on the board after a hit batter, a couple of hit batters, a walk. Alabama and Hevlin pitch on the outer half, and she hits a 100-hopper back up the middle. And because Wiggins is pulled in that shortstop position with the bases loaded, able to chop it right back up the middle, a couple of runs plated, and now Bama has the lead.
In the inning, 3 free passes, 2 aboard with 1 out for the 9-hitter Riley Valentine. Popped up behind the plate and catchable for Cottrell, 2 down.
Great job by Cottrell to go get that. That is, sometimes those are some of the hardest balls to catch, as there's a lot of spin on them. Keeps her eye on it.
So after Kristen White goes 0-2, 0 for 2, I should say, she's lifted here for a pinch hitter, Lauren Johnson, who actually does have the best batting average on the team at .319. It's just a really crowded outfield, so Alabama has had to kind of pick and choose the moments for the freshman, with her big sister Jenna standing on second base. Pardon me, Jenna has come in to score. That's Dukeshire out there. 1 for 2 as a pinch hitter.
A little bit out in front of that drop ball in the outer half. Sometimes it's hard to come off the bench and you're so excited. You don't realize how quick and how much torque you can have when you start elevating or start rotating on that swing.
Ground ball to short, and they get the force at second, but 3 runs in. All the runs scored in that 4th inning. We head to the 5th. And now Kayla Beaver with a lead to protect. 8, 9, and 1 due up.
And the runs that A&M scored, they scored without a hit. So it was a walk, 2 walks, throwing error.
Both sides free passes.
Free passes, they're killers. ERA killers, that is. Well, they're not earned runs, but just run killers. They go up on the board. And
3 of the 5 runs, I think.
Yeah.
Were people that walked or got hit by a pitch.
In Alabama now, that's their 6th error. They've got 6 errors in this series.
Coleman struck out on a drop in the third.
I think it's, Alabama goes back and can really work on that defense, because that inning, it was an error. Estee reached on an error to first base, and the throwing error coming in from right field. Clean that up. There's no runs up on the board. Wow.
Gets her to chase the rise.
And that's the pitch. This is Beaver at her best, and it's when she's working that rise ball on that inside corner, and it comes up into the hitter's eyes. It looks like that ball can be hit to the moon, but it keeps climbing, and at 70 miles an hour, that barrel just can't match it.
Number 4 for Kayla. And Kennedy Powell claims she was hit by a pitch. Alabama says she swung at it.
Coach Mervis now asking that was a swing. Now the question is, where is the pitch?
Yes.
Looked like it potentially was in the river, not in the box.
I mean,
You can see her elbow. She's in the river, so I do wonder if...
You're not required to get out of the way, but if your swing takes you out across the plate, that's what Bama was trying to argue.
I think
It certainly was a check swing.
Right. Deciding whether or not.
Tying run aboard now. Go ahead at the plate. That was reviewable. I guess Bama decided to pass.
I wonder if they would have said that, if the pitch is in the box, it would be ruled a hit by pitch. I think they would have had to decide was that pitch in the river or in the strike zone, potentially bring her back.
0-2.
Both the lefties for Texas A&M definitely up on the plate. All three, actually, they hit in a row. Coleman, Powell, Harper. Excuse me, Powell, Harper-ish. Think.
Throw down to first, not in time. A&M does not have a hit yet with a runner on base. That was their big problem in game 1. Not a problem yesterday. Flared the opposite way. That's a fair ball, and it bounds away from Johnson. And runners on second and third for the Aggies.
This ball hit down the line. You could see all the lefties are just really towing up, slicing toward the foul line, and Johnson is going to come in. It's a tough, tough play. Hard to see from that angle if that is fair or foul. Obviously playing it because she's not sure. Yeah, and it looks like it is definitely just inside the line.
Estee did have one of the hits off of Beaver in game 1. And that will get through. Powell comes in to score. Harper holds at third, and the Aggies tie it up. And it's a hit batter that got on base that comes around to score.
Yeah, and all three lefties are well up on the zone and on that chalk line. You can just see that they're looking for pitches on the outer half and just driving them the opposite way. She punches that through that 5-6 hole. Really nothing that Bama can do about it.
Now the go-ahead run at third base with one out. Back to the righties, and here's Hill.
It's the first run in a long time that Beaver has given up. She gave up those 2 in the 4th, but she had been strong prior to these adjustments that Texas A&M has made off of her.
Yeah, she had 22 consecutive scoreless innings, and that streak busted up in the 3rd, and now one more run on for A&M here in the 4th, and now one more in the 5th. Couple of hops down to first. The only play is to tag the base runner, and Harper comes in to score. Texas A&M on top.
Boy, and that's a play that, as a defender, you got to go get that. You can't wait for that to come to you with a runner at third base.
Eshte also gets over to second base, so a runner in scoring position for Cottrell. Dowling charges. Good response for Texas A&M starter Emily Kennedy, who threw the first 3 innings tonight. Alabama scored 3 runs off of 2 relievers, and now A&M back to Kennedy with a 1-run lead. Two, 3, 4 in the lineup after the Tide got 8 to the plate last inning.
Trying to steal some innings and give Kennedy a rest, but she's really their ace. When you look at the lion's share of the innings that have been thrown for Texas A&M, it is all on the shoulders of Emily Kennedy.
Looks like they had to switch out their digital signaling device that they can use for calling pitches and setting up their defense. Something new this year in the college game.
Well, it's interesting because we've heard some people say, old school for some of the clubs that are going back to the armbands with the color codes. And I'm like, if that's old school, what is the catcher putting down the fingers system?
Cahalan.
Wow.
Another well-struck ball off of her bat. Wheeling around second and heading for third.
And that's exactly what Alabama needed. Kenley Cahalan is going to get all into this pitch. The lefty-on-lefty matchup. It's a backdoor curveball that Cahalan is just able to bash down the line. Allie Enright making a diving attempt, but just unable to get it. Tide trying to tie up this game.
Her 3rd triple of the season. Her last at-bat, she was robbed on a great defensive play out in center field by Jazz Hill. Enright got a glove to that one, couldn't reel it in. And now the tying run 60 feet away for Kendall Clark.
And again, ironically, I think we have to keep hammering this point home, is that Kennedy is much more difficult to hit as a right-handed hitter. They hit just $168 versus the lefties that hit almost 200 off her. Complete opposite. Typically, lefty-lefty matchup is so difficult, but Cahalan has really been strong against Kennedy. That triple just proving it again.
All righties moving forward for Alabama. Clark has struck out twice. 3 times. 1 down.
Well, part of the reason that Kennedy is so strong against righties is because she will come right underneath your hands and that ball just dives into the dirt. Looks like she potentially checks that a little bit. It's the K for Kennedy.
Dowling struck out in the second, got hit by a pitch, and her pinch runner scored the last time out. Dowling, hard hit. Wiggins is there. 2 down.
Good job by the infield. Everybody pulled in. Good job by Wiggins, but also a good job at first base. Trinity Cannon had to go back to the bag. Looking well in. Opportunity now for the defense on the infield to be back at regular depth with those 2 outs.
Johnson has hit the ball hard twice. Singled in the 4th. She was robbed of a base hit by a great play at second by Harper. Chance for Cahalan. Slides in safe at home. The Tide tie it up.
This is a wild pitch, and it's like that drop ball trying to get down underneath the hands of Johnson, and it just gets away from Julia Cottrell. That's a tough pitch to try to square up. You got to try to keep that in front of you, but with all the spin of Kennedy, it's a tough job. You can tell Kennedy's upset with herself, kicking the dirt. But after that pitch, frustration now. Both of these clubs making some mistakes they normally do not make. But that's where it's hard, right? This is great. Game 3 of the series. Yeah. Kennedy has thrown in every game, a little bit of fatigue. And with that physical fatigue, sometimes comes mental mistakes. I've seen that from both these clubs.
Two and two. Johnson protects.
Kennedy trying to use that off-speed pitch a little bit more in Game 3 here than she did in Game 1 or her relief appearance in Game 2.
Johnson off the glove, and she'll leg it out.
Johnson beats that out, but that is an outstanding defensive play for Texas A&M. This ball is smoked hard, and it's going to go off the diving glove of Pal Wiggins. Great job to pick this up. Take a look at this athleticism by Texas A&M. Off the glove by Pal. Wiggins backhands. If not for that bobble, she probably gets Jenna Johnson out, but Jenna Johnson runs well and ends up beating that out for an infield base hit.
One out of Broadfoot. 1-1. Cahalan with the triple and then scores on a wild pitch to even it up. Tied now with a go-ahead on base.
Another changeup for a ball. Non-competitive pitches. Bama doesn't really even have to worry about that pitch. And this is where for Kennedy, as a pitcher, when you're fatigued, you need to take a little bit off.
Called strike 2 on Broadfoot.
Well, it's interesting that they checked this, because to me, I thought this just simply looked like a strike coming from the left side, the left-handed pitcher across the plate. Remember, we talked about this earlier. Beaver, the right-handed pitcher, is on the right side of the pitching rubber. Emily Kennedy, the left-handed pitcher, tends to be over toward the left side of the pitching rubber, trying to really work that angle.
"15 pitches now to the last 2 Bama hitters. Fouls off another. Another 3-2 pitch coming. Back behind the base at third, and over the head catch is made by Kennedy. Looking for their first series win over the Tide, and getting that important head-to-head on the resume if the selection committee ever comes down to a conversation between these two. They are both in the top 10 RPI this week.
Just the improvement for A&M from 2 years ago to last year to this year. Last year they had 33 wins. A win tonight would put them at 33 wins with still 10 games left. This is a gritty team, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Your ticket is punched to play them in the postseason. It's going to be a challenge.
5, 6, and 7 here. This is Trinity Cannon. Walked her last time up. They've been in these tight matchups all year long. 8 of their 9 losses have come in their opponent's final at-bat. Cannon singles out to left, and the go-ahead aboard for the Aggies. She is having herself a series.
Oh, man. She has just been tough, working counts deep and barreling up some balls. And this is a 2-2 count. She had swung through some of these rise balls, but this one a little bit lower. She's jammed up. She hits that little bit off of the handle, but just powerful enough to get that ball to drop in front of Jenna Johnson in left field.
That's Scout Lovell coming on to pinch run for Cannon, who can re-enter, with Allie Enright coming to the plate. Singled in the first, had the RBI on the sac fly in the fourth. This on the heels of her 3 RBI night yesterday, including a home run.
Third time through the lineup now. Beaver's starting to use that off-speed pitch a little bit more. Comes in around 60 miles an hour.
Enright tries the bunt, pops it up, and it's dropped by Beaver. But the base runner had headed back to first base.
Boy, and that's Broadfoot coming in. Both Beaver and Broadfoot coming in. And so this needs to be a little more communication in this situation. Broadfoot, Beaver both trying to dive for it. Goes off of the glove of Beaver, but I like the presence of mind of Valentine immediately looking. So the runner, this is a tough position for the pinch runner. Although when you're over at first base, thinking that's going to be caught, it's dropped, and then you're forced out at second.
Wiggins fouled down the left field line.
Not a lot you can do on that as a base runner.
that's a tough situation with that pop-up before the plate, because you also are wondering if you let it bounce, it'll just go spin foul. Certainly you'd love for your pitcher to kind of stay out of the way on that one. But you got to admire her hustle, too, to try and get to that. A lot going on there.
A lot going on. Well, sometimes, too, as a pitcher, there's been a couple errors. You try to start doing everything yourself. You know, that should be a play that your corners can make for you.
Wiggins will lay down the bunt. Beaver fires to first, and it's out of the glove of Broadfoot. Another miscue for the Tide defense as the Aggies wisely just put the pressure on them.
Well, and this will be interesting to see where the error is on this play, because Beaver's going to go get this, but look how close Billy Dowling comes to her. Little bit of congestion here, and so with the rush throw, looks like there's almost going to be a little bit of traffic there, but the throw offline just a little bit. Again, this is still a play the corners need to help out the pitcher in that situation. Should be able to make that play off of the glove of Broadfoot, stretch a little bit early, throw a little bit high. I'm going to call that an error on Beaver, so E1.
Third of the game for the Alabama defense. And now 2 runners in scoring position. Ayanna Coleman has struck out twice tonight. Little drift out of play.
And she struck out on a drop ball and a rise ball. Couldn't really even catch up to that rise ball in the 5th inning. If I'm Beaver right here, I'm thinking rise ball underneath her hands. You know, you typically don't always want to throw a rise ball in this situation, but she was not close to touching that. Just really work on getting that rise ball to miss the barrel.
Base hit. 1 run is in. Throw to the plate, and the 2nd run comes in to score.
And I'm surprised they went outside here after striking her out on a rise ball. 2 rise balls that she didn't come close to touching. They go to the outer half, and she just is all on this. Head down, low outside pitch, lets it travel, and just punches it through the right side of the infield. I think, again, you go back and you look at that and think attack her upstairs. But a great piece of hitting by Coleman to drive that ball opposite way and plate 2 more runs for Texas A&M.
One change that Tricia Ford made from yesterday to today was to get a new DP, and it was Ayanna Coleman.
Yep.
And she comes up clutch with a 2-run single.
Super clutch, 233 batting average, and boy, I mean, that's a huge at-bat. Struck out in the 3rd and struck out in the 5th, and just that is a beautiful swing on a pitch that she ran into.
So a 2-run 4th, a 2-run 5th, and now a 2-run 6th gets Texas A&M back in front. Another bunt, Dowling over to field it, not in time, and there's nobody covering the base at 3rd.
Wow, the defense right now for Alabama. Texas A&M is stirring them up. And this is all short game. This is all looking at where the corners, I've mentioned this a couple times, the corners are so far back, they are not helping out Beaver. So that's why Powell's going to put the bunt down. She sees Dowling back, she sees Broadfoot back, and then presence of mind for the pinch runner to know that, hey, I'm going to go all the way 1st to 3rd on that play.
And then Powell scoots over to 2nd.
This is great base running by Prince. Nobody even close. That is Billy Dowling's responsibility to return after the throw.
And the swing from Harper will drive in at least 1 more. Here comes another, and the Aggies exploding here in the 6th.
Aggies just getting it done here in the 6th inning. This is a rise ball that just does not get up, and Harper attacks it early, drives this ball out onto the green. Texas A&M just doing all the little things right. So Sav Price, the pinch runner, going first to third on that bunt, identifying that nobody's back covering third base. Just all those little things are chipping away.
Echte at the plate here. Two down. Here's Jasmine Hill.
Jazz Hill's been good as of late. 11-game on-base streak coming into this game, Beth, and obviously extending that. She's been hot the last couple series for Texas A&M. Just great leadership. Played for Coach Ford at Arizona State as a graduate. Came over to play, and you know, sometimes it just takes that one player to add a little spark, a little pizzazz. Jazz Hill has definitely done that for the Aggies. And she's done that much in the same way that Kayla Beaver has done that for Alabama. I mean, she throws with a lot of fire and energy, getting roughed up here a little bit tonight, but you know, this has been a pretty emotional series between these two clubs, and a lot going on.
Hill draws the walk, and Cottrell will be the 9th to the plate this inning. A lot happening since the 4th for the Aggies. All 8 runs in. So they had 4 innings yesterday of 3 or more runs, and now they have a 4-run 6th.
A couple of unfortunate plays for Alabama. Again, defensively could have gotten out of this inning much earlier. Errors and some decisions have just been tough.
One and two. Cottrell pops it up. Valentine dropped it, and it's a fair ball. That's because right now there are 8 SEC teams with a top 16 RPI.
Yeah, a lot of congestion with all these good teams in the SEC.
And then 2 more right outside of it, Mississippi State and Florida.
Absolutely. Yeah. And they're going to shift, right, Beth, as people knock each other off. I mean, there's going to be a lot of movement over the next 3 weeks.
Well, Tennessee hosting LSU next week. Texas A&M closes out the year last weekend of the regular season at Florida.
That'll be the big one.
And then Tennessee still has to come here to play in a couple weeks
That'll be another big one. I feel like that every SEC series, that'll be a big one. They're all big.
Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting because you go back and you look at the teams that are in the lower, like, fourth of the SEC. Ole Miss, they knocked off LSU. You could go on, and it's just crazy.
Arkansas's moving up.
Yeah.
They won 3 straight series. LSU has lost back-to-back in the SEC. Georgia's lost 3 straight series in league play to fall down into 6th place.
Yeah, and at one point they were in 2nd place before Arkansas showed up.
Alabama, as it stands right now, at a strikeout of Dukeshire, they could slip under 500. Remember, they have never finished SEC play with a losing record.
Yeah, and that's, you know, they're right on that bubble right now at 7-7 coming into tonight's game.
One down, Callie Hevlin. All 13 of the SEC softball schools, by the way, are in the top 50, which right now bodes well for all 13 getting into the NCAA tournament. There may be bids available because the Big Ten is down this year. So there you see the SEC RPI in the top 20.
And that's the crazy part. Florida is one of the top teams in the league, and they're at 18.
Kennedy with back-to-back strikeouts, 2 down.
Oh, those runs, putting a 5 spot up in the top of the inning, helping give Kennedy a little bit more juice. Curveball in the inner half continues to just really be tough against these righties.
Numbers 5 and 6 tonight for Emily. Here's Riley Valentine in the 9 spot. Most runs that A&M has ever scored in a series with Alabama. They are on the brink here of winning their first series in Tuscaloosa.
I think this Texas A&M team is they're gonna have a lot of firsts here moving into the postseason. Opportunity to have a good showing at the SEC tournament. Let's see, potentially get through this opportunity to be in the running for the regular championship, the regular season championship. I think the key now is establishing arms behind Emily Kennedy. I mean, just being able to get 2 or 3 innings out of every other pitcher.
Yep. Ground ball to Powell in a 1-2-3 inning. To the 7th here in Tuscaloosa.
But it's also, Beth, it's been the errors. I mean, defensively, Alabama has been very kind. 4 in today's game.
I think it's 7 for the series.
Yeah, 1 in game
8
1.
for the series.
3 in game 2 and 4 tonight. So 8 total errors in the series for Alabama.
Trinity Cannon gets a hold of one outside the foul pole.
If you're Alabama, the easiest thing you go back to and look at is we can eliminate the free passes and the errors. This is a completely different series.
Yeah, so that's 3 SEC series with 7+ errors.
Well, because of that, Beavers had to work very hard tonight. Already at 110 pitches tonight, 115. Stat broadcast at 110, and all those errors and free passes end up being more and more pitches for Beaver, who threw the complete game shutout with 101 pitches in game 1.
Gets the strikeout of Cannon there, 1 down. Team picked to finish 8th in the SEC. And they are 3 outs away from a tie for 2nd.
Tricia Ford, she's a mastermind. She knows how to get all of her Aggies flying in the right direction. I was going to say Ducks, but they're Aggies.
Well, they go home to host Ole Miss, so they could do some damage there. Cahalan at short, 2 down. Last chance, by the way, for Bama will be the top of their order. In the bottom of the 7th. Ryland reached on an error in the 6th, came around to score. And pops it up. Beaver has it. A 1-2-3 inning. Last chance coming up for the Tide Conference. Lauren Johnson to lead things off for the Tide. Grounded short back in the 4th. As Emily Kennedy tries to close this one out. Back behind the base at second, and it gets through.
Lauren Johnson's one of those players that when she's not in the lineup, you wonder why, because she does have the highest batting average on the team, and this is one of the reasons why. She's got good speed, but she also just pops this ball right back up the middle. Gets past Harper, going back up the middle, but even if Harper would have caught that, I think Johnson gets that out. Lead-off base hit here in the 7th.
Kenley Cahalan has 2 hard-hit balls. The last one for a triple came in to score. Alabama had the lead in the 4th, lost it in the 5th. Came right back to tie it up, but then that big 5-run 6th inning for the Aggies.
Just a couple of tough innings. I mean, that 4th inning, Texas A&M scored without a hit. 2 errors, 2 free passes. Those are the type of innings as a team can take the air out of. You got to figure out a way to flip it around, turn it around, start anew.
Two. Slow roll to Harper, applies the tag. No play at first. And now Tricia Ford's going to come out and say, hey, wait a second here. There's got to be some interference, possibly.
The question is there an opportunity to turn the double play? Johnson is seeing the play evolve right in front of her. They run into each other.
This will give us a better idea of the timing. Oh boy, certainly looks like she might have been able to make a throw to first.
After review in Birmingham, the out at second will be upheld. The runner at first will also be called out.
So it looks like because of the contact, Amari Harper did not have the opportunity to turn the double play. And so, as you mentioned, Beth, it's really the timing of it. When does the contact happen between Johnson and Harper? You can see Johnson looks and then just doesn't change course at all. That contact happens. Clark is,
I think Murph wants more of an explanation because they didn't tell us if it was malicious intent or if it was interference.
right. And so what were they looking at? That is the interesting thing, is that you have to specifically ask for something. Now, we don't know if that was Coach Ford asking or if it was the umpires, because it is late in the game. They can
and now
request.
she, I think rightfully so, is asking, hey, come on, let's go. So as it stands now, 2 outs. A&M 1 out away from a win here.
This has been a feisty series.
Yep.
Games 1 and 2. And showing here tonight in game 3 as well a little bit.
So it looks like we are ready to get back to action here. It'll be, let's see, is Larissa Pruitt coming on to hit? Pops it up, and that'll do it. Texas A&M wins games 2 and 3 to take the series on.